The New York Yankees have signed left-handed relief pitcher Ryan Yarbrough to a major league deal, according to Max Manis of John Boy Media and Robert Murray of Fansided. Now, the New York Yankees were searching for depth on the market on both the position player side and on the pitching side as well. They refused to finalize their bullpen roster heading into the opening day, which is just a few days away, as a result of them still looking on the market for options. Yarbrough presents them with a left-handed relief option, someone who can pitch multiple innings, provide some much-needed depth to the back end, and if a starter goes short, Yarbrough can eat some innings and provide some value there. The 33-year-old spent the past season with the Los Angeles Dodgers and the Toronto Blue Jays, pitching to a pretty effective 3.19 ERA. He did have some rough underlying metrics, but he improved dramatically upon being acquired by the Toronto Blue Jays, who cut down his cutter usage and increased his four-seam usage. Before we get into all the nitty-gritty stuff, though, make sure you guys like, comment, subscribe, and turn on the notification bell to check out Fireside Yankees on all of your favorite social media platforms. We're here every single day trying to get you guys up to speed on whatever's going on in Yankee land, and of course, keep you guys up to date on the latest moves and transactions, such as this one. But let's get straight into it, talking about what Ryan Yarbrough brings to the table, why the Yankees had interest in a left-hander, and why he could be an effective pitcher for the team out of the bullpen. So, as you'll notice, he does not throw very hard. Yarbrough only averages 86 miles per hour on his sinker and 86.7 miles per hour on his four-seam fastball. His top-end velocity is incredibly unimpressive, and that's going to result in, understandably so, a lot of just, hey, this guy is not going to be very effective, is he? And I understand the desire for high-velocity pitchers. Velocity creates a smaller margin for error or a larger margin for error. If you throw softer, if you have worse stuff, it makes it harder to live in the strike zone. But Yarbrough does things in a way that I think can allow him to be very successful for the Yankees without having, good velocity or even mediocre or below average velocity. His fastball velocity was in the first percentile. He is really not throwing hard. He's throwing softer than most college pitchers, and yet he has found himself on another team, on a major league deal, and honestly on a team that has a pretty competitive bullpen battle going on. Now, Yarbrough's arsenal is now really leaned on a sinker that he's added. This sinker has really good movement, 16.6 inches of lateral run, and 4.8 inches of induced vertical break. That is really good, even though he's releasing from a super low arm slot where you would kind of expect that. He is the definition of a sidewinder. He throws from a really low slot. He has lowered his slot in recent years from roughly 20 degrees to 13 degrees this past season. And one of the pitches that I think the Blue Jays did a really good job of reincorporating was his four-seamer. His cutter has continuously gotten shelled throughout his major league career. It has struggled to be an above-average pitcher him since 2019. This past year, batters were hitting 400 with a 750 slugging percentage against it when he used it in the 9.9% of the time he did use it. He used it pretty heavily with the Dodgers. It was about a 27% usage rate pitch for him when he was in LA, but the Blue Jays identified that was the pitch that wasn't really working for him. Now, it's kind of rare that you see a team like the Dodgers fail to make an adjustment with a pitcher, and for a team like the Blue Jays to kind of maximize that player's value, but that's what happens sometimes when you change organizations, or if you just get more consistent reps at the major league level. The Dodgers were the World Series champions. The Blue Jays ended up not even finishing at 500. So more reps were available for Yarbrough. There were more open innings. There were more situations where he could work on his stuff. And this experiment really worked out well for him. His sinker usage remained pretty constant. It went up by about 3%, but that's not a massive uptick. And again, his four-seam usage nearly doubled from 17.3% to 31.4%. And part of what I think makes this four-seamer so effective, despite sitting at 86.7 miles per hour, is, again, the arm angle in which he releases it at. At 13 degrees, it's just not an arm slot where you expect the pitch to rise or you expect to get a pitch at the top of the zone. And yet when Yarbrough locates his four-seam fastball at the top of the zone, he tends to have a good deal of success. In fact, I personally think that's a pitch that the Yankees are going to have him lead on a decent bit with that sinker as well. There's a lot of Tim Hill here in the respect that this is a guy with a super low arm angle. He's releasing it from a lower release height than most pitchers, but he's able to be super effective because that low release height makes him a unique pitcher. There aren't a lot of pitchers throwing from the arm slot he's throwing from. He's throwing from a low release height. His arm angle is lower than most, and that makes him deceptive. But the other pitch that I think is kind of playing this up is his curveball, which had a 189 WOBA, a 111 average against, a 219 slug, and a 34.6% whiff rate. I really like this pitch, especially when paired with his four-seamer, because he has something he can attack the top of the zone with, especially against righties, and then attack the bottom of the zone with and get some swings and misses, and also steal some strikes. I mean, this curveball sits at 71 miles an hour. It has a good amount of vertical movement and horizontal movement that allows it to be a pitch that is just going to get swings and misses because it works well off of that fastball. And when you kind of look at the synergy of a repertoire, we talked to Sean Boyle, like guys who don't throw hard, how important it is to have those funky movement patterns or, be able to vary your looks or have pitches that play off of each other very well. I think that we're going to see a version of Ryan Yarbrough that's able to effectively deceive hitters, effectively kind of throw them off balance, and just keep them guessing at all times. He still has a sinker he can go to. He still has a changeup that has been an effective pitch for him. Neither of those pitches in the sinker or changeup are big whiff pitches relative to the pitch classification. Like, I know sinkers don't get whiffs, but a 7.1% whiff rate is still below the average for a sinker. And then changeups are pitches that can get whiffs, but he only gets a whiff rate of 22.6% on his changeup. But both those pitches keep the ball on the ground. They allow soft contact, and that's what makes Ryan Yarbrough so effective. He was in the first percentile in fastball velocity, but he's also the 99th percentile in hard hit rate. And with the Blue Jays, his barrel rate came down from 8.1% with the Dodgers to 1.3% with the Blue Jays. That also came with a significant increase in his strikeout to walk rate as well. I know his Stuff Plus scores didn't improve because Stuff Plus likes his cutter and does not like his four-seamer. But I think that's one of those things where you kind of just don't care that Stuff Plus disagrees. You kind of look at the results and you go, hey, this is just a weird pitch and it's getting better results, so let's stick with that weird pitch that's getting better results over maybe a pitch that, traditionally speaking, may have more success. Again, Ryan Yarbrough is an outlier pitcher, and outlier pitchers are kind of a premium on the market. Pitching is about being weird. Pitching is about pitching in a weird way. It's being weird and being different from the norm is a good thing. One thing I find interesting, though, is that in spring training, we have seen Ryan Yarbrough ditch that four-seamer, go back to the cutter. So I wonder if the Yankees are going to kind of shift him back in that direction. There are a lot of things the Yankees can do here. He's introduced kind of a new slider as well. I would be interested to see how the Yankees work with that. He has gotten more swings and misses throughout spring training. So, I'm personally really encouraged by what he's done throughout his season, and ultimately hope that the New York Yankees are going to be able to acquire really just a lot of interesting high variance or a variety of interesting and different arms for their bullpen, different looks, all that, etc., etc. With that being said, though, the Yankees still have moves that I think they would like to do. Brian Cashman has talked about a right-handed bat. When Brian Cashman publicly talks about wanting to add something or wanting to add a certain position group, he typically does it. And I'm not saying to say he's 100% adding a big bat, but he's, in my opinion, going to probably add a notable hitter, someone who can at least hit lefties. It may not be a superstar. It may not be a MVP caliber player, whatever it may be, but it will probably be a player who can contribute value and at least start against lefties. The Yankees starting lineup against lefties is pretty brutal. And look, I know that the Yankees, how do I put this? The Yankees have traditionally built lineups that have been left-handed, and then they kind of shifted towards right-handed hitters, maybe a little too much, and then have kind of swung back towards left-handed hitters, but they need to find a balance. They need that balance. Balance is super important, and that balance needs to be kind of being just a little more right-handed. And whether that's a full-time infielder, I'd prefer one of the infield because it allows you to cycle Cabrera and that infielder, and when Stan comes back, you plug Stan at DH. But wherever they can get a right-handed bat, they kind of have to get one. And if they can get one that is really impactful, that changes a lot about how you feel about this offense. It changes the way you feel about this, their ability to hit left-handed pitching, because their ability to hit right-handed pitching, I think, is going to be there. Like, Jason Minguez is really good against righties. Ben Rice, really good against righties. You have Austin Wells is really good against righties, and et cetera, et cetera. Like, it's really not a situation where, I believe the Yankees are going to struggle. I don't see why they can't hit right-handed pitching, but I do see why they can't hit left-handed pitching, and I do see that being an issue. Paul Goldschmidt leading off is really not a bad idea given the current roster, but I think even Aaron Boone would admit this, that he would prefer having someone who could lead off, or maybe having someone who could hit fourth to, for lack of better terms, like, just give yourself a little bit more. Because right now, Anthony Volpe is their cleanup hitter against left-handed pitching. And in 2023, Anthony Volpe against left-handed pitching was really good. In 2024, he was firmly below average. That evens out to about a league average number in his career against lefties. Don't want a league average hitter cleaning up. Don't want that. You don't want league average cleaning up. You want league average hitting like 6th for you or 7th for you. Ideally 8th for you, but most good lineups have like their below average hitters in the 8, 9, maybe even 7 holes. And I do acknowledge that being worse against lefties has become a league-wide trend. Teams across the league as a whole have just kind of struggled against lefties, and this ties back to Ryan Yarbrough here. Getting a funky lefty is an advantage because teams just kind of aren't prepared to hit funky lefties right now. Left-handed pitchers have kind of had this weird like resurgence as like they're still the top dogs, and I'm not sitting here and suggesting that lefties and the uniqueness of a left-handed pitcher has not always baffled offenses before, but left-handed pitchers are just having success, and they're continuing to have success. Right-handed pitchers last year had a 4.09 ERA and a 4.10 FIP. This year, left-handed pitchers had this past year, left-handed pitchers had a 4.04 ERA and a 4.01 FIP. They're just better than right-handed pitchers because there are so few of them compared to right-handed pitchers. Left-handed pitchers tossed, they've tossed 33% of the innings that right-handed pitchers tossed last season. That's pretty significant. So, again, kind of tying this all together, the Yankees had a crafty lefty in Ryan Yarbrough. They need a right-handed bat. We'll see if they end up adding one. We'll see how this bullpen battle shakes out. Now they added a lefty to a major league deal, meaning Ryan Yarbrough has to make the team. They have options on Yerry De Los Santos and Brent Heydrich. They can send both of them down, keep Yandrys Gomez. They would have to keep one of Heydrich and Yerry De Los Santos, kind of given the fact that they don't have a complete bullpen. But my point is that the only player they really have to worry about, like, hey, we'll lose them if we don't roster them, is Yandrys Gomez. So, yeah, there's that. It's really, the Yankees are just kind of in a weird spot with their bullpen. I've never seen them have this many injuries before opening day on the bullpen side. Maybe they have, and I just don't remember it that well. But their bullpen is uniquely depleted considering how much depth they had going into spring training. But that's why you acquire as many relievers as they do. With that being said, let me know what you guys think in the comment section below. Are you yay, Ryan Yarbrough? Think he can be good, or nay? I think he can be good. Above average stuff plus scores. Funky lefty. Lefties always perform better than righties, kind of thing. And I'm really excited for that. And who would you suggest for the Yankees to add for a right-handed bat? Again, let me know in the comment section below. We appreciate you guys tuning in and checking out Fireside Yankees. Check out our social media pages on Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, Twitter, and of course this YouTube page. Links are all in the description. And check out EmpireSportsMedia.com for all of your favorite New York sports coverage. Thank you all for tuning in. We will see you guys in the next one. Peace out. Love you all.
Perfect.